Another core desire of a man, significance. I long for impact. I long for meaning. I long to be powerful. Wow, this is a cool one. I was thinking about that when James and John, they were so longing for this. Their mom actually asked them if they could, Jesus, can they sit on right and left hands of you when you're on your throne in heaven? Jesus was like, that's not for me to decide. But then we see James and John in another translation. They asked the same thing. Another gospel, they asked the same question of Jesus. And he says, can you die? Will you be able to do what I'm going to do? Give your life for everybody else? And they look and they're like, we can. We can. That search for significance, we call that. Man, I matter. What do you think about that?
I matter,
Longing for impact, longing for meaning?
Yeah, I think that's it. That I matter, and that this all has meaning. Because really that word significance comes from a root that means meaning. And that's what we're feeling. And it's natural. It's natural to feel like nothing has meaning. It's supernatural to discover that even the smallest details of our lives are meaningful. And I've been struggling with that. It's not, a lot of times we think if I just get the right circumstances, if I've got the right people around me, if I had a better marriage, if I had a better job, if I was doing that thing I really want to be doing, I would feel good. I would feel full. I'd feel like things have meaning. And that's not always the case. I mean, I know right now I'm getting to do a lot of things in my life that are enjoyable. I work with people I love, and I get to do things that these are eternally significant. And still I wake up throughout the days, I'm like, nothing matters, doesn't matter, no meaning. That's a constant thing. And so again, to be honest about that and say I'm feeling, hey, I called him the other day. I said, Luke, I'm really struggling. You know what he did? He spoke significance over me. He said, everything you're going through matters. It has purpose, it has meaning. Speak life, call your wife, be tender. Just walk through it one step at a time. But this is meaningful. And for me, that's where I've grown the most, just recognizing that all the small details around me, the places I've failed, the places I've tempted to be ashamed of, the things I want to keep secret, as well as the things I've done well, the strengths that I've discovered I have, the ability I have to influence people around me, my children, coworkers, whatever it is. These are places of significance. They all have meaning. And Scripture says nothing is in vain. Everything is being worked together to purpose, strength, redemption, wholeness. And when we can do that, when we can start saying everything matters, let me just walk through my day, not in this fog of just kind of, laissez-faire, get to the weekend kind of existence. If I could say everything matters and be attentive to it, to pay attention, we start to see all these things. And then we can talk about them together. And hey, let me tell you something, Luke, that thing happened. I think that was big. Here's why. It just seems to me that's meaningful. And guess what? I've seen you do this before, and you got strengths in this way. We start to build one another up. But we face an adversary who wants to cloud everything with the lie that it doesn't have significance. And oh, by the way, you don't have significance. And some of us have heard those exact words from people who should have built us up in our lives. It's a lie. That's why we need to speak to one another, because what does it take? 6 or 7 positive things to overcome every negative thing we've heard. And if we've heard from people around us, either verbally or implicitly in our lives, that we don't matter and that we don't have significance and you're a mistake, we need a lot of brothers speaking life into us. So let's never miss that opportunity to speak life into each other.
Awesome. And you may think, well, hey, I'm not great at that, or I don't have a ton of people that I'm influencing. Listen, in my 3 Harbors guys, we run a support group for people with chronic pain and illness. And right now we're going through this incredible story of a man named Ed Dobson. You see him in his old days. He was pastoring church, huge, thousands of people. And then he was stricken with ALS. And ALS took his voice, took his body, all the different stuff. But what's interesting is this. He took a year of his life and he said, I want to try to live like Jesus. And he started just going around and just waiting to see who God brought him. And he would just befriend them and minister to them. And he said this. He said, for the first time in my life, I think I was really living like Jesus. He said, I used to be too busy to be able to live like Jesus. That is shocking. That's shocking. And here's my point. He was meeting random people and just trying to encourage them and tell them that their life matters and tell them that God cares. And he felt like that's what Jesus would be doing. We can all do that.